The Curse of Oak Island preview. There's gold in the wood at the Baby Blob. The Curse of Oak Island is back this week, and episode 15 will see the guys uncover a lot of wood while digging into the Baby Blob, and this wood has gold in it. This episode is called Would You Believe It? And it seems as though this week we'll see lots of fascinating revelations regarding wood. As the Dumas Mining Company continues to excavate and rehabilitate the garden shaft, the Fellowship is continuing to drill into the Baby Blob just a few feet to the west. The Baby Blob is the new smaller area that Dr. Ian Spooner identified last week, where the scientific data points to as home to a variety of precious metals that would make up a typical haul of treasure. A preview of tonight's episode appears to show the guys hitting lots of wood. This probably means they've hit another underground structure, and this one is right where they hoped, in the Baby Blob. The preview teased a bit more. Archaeologist and metallurgy expert Emma Culligan has run some tests, and she's found gold within the wood. Rick Ladina says there's gold in the wood and the water. A very excited-looking Rick Ladina announced, "Now we have gold in the wood and the water." He is, of course, referencing the water samples taken from the Baby Blob area that initially revealed gold was buried below. And for fans who often mock the guys for only finding wood, they should bear in mind that the team is unlikely to find any treasure or vaults without first finding the wood that would enclose the silver and gold. If the guys don't first find wood, they don't find treasure. The History Channel episode synopsis reads, Oak Island team also explore garden shaft and find a new feature. Also on tonight's show, Rick and the team get another chance to check out the progress of the garden shaft by heading underground. There's a piece of history on show when the guys find an old intact handmade ladder that's part of the original work. It must be about 200 years old, possibly older. The team seems increasingly excited about the whole area around the garden shaft and the Baby Blob. Rick has claimed, "We're certainly close to where the treasure may be." Also on tonight's show, Alex Legina and Jack Begley look to be opening up another area for investigation. A preview showed the pair examining a massive tree by an old stone wall. This is likely either on the newly acquired Lot 5 or Lot 26, where recently the guys have been doing a lot of metal detecting and examining a strange old well. As the hunt for treasure heats up again in the new season of The Curse of Oak Island, all eyes are on an area that has quietly become one of the most promising dig sites yet, something the team has nicknamed the Baby Blob. It may not have the grandeur of the garden shaft or the long history of the money pit, but the Baby Blob has just delivered something the Legina brothers and their team have waited years to see, evidence of gold in the wood. And that changes everything. A tiny target with big potential. In typical Oak Island fashion, the Baby Blob wasn't originally thought to be a major lead. It's a small anomaly on the edge of the swamp, first flagged by seismic scans as a curious blip, smaller than the Big Blob, which yielded traces of silver, copper, and centuries-old man-made tunnels. The Baby Blob, by contrast, looked too insignificant to hold anything important. But if Oak Island has taught us anything over the years, it's that looks can be deceiving. As the team began targeting the area with deeper boreholes and core drilling, they quickly found something unusual: softwood that didn't belong in that part of the island, buried at an unnatural depth. At first, it seemed like just another piece of debris or collapsed structure. But once they sent the wood off for analysis, the results floored them. Gold traces that tell a story. According to preliminary results from the lab, the wood sample contains measurable traces of gold, not simply gold nearby in the soil, but actually embedded within the wood grain itself. That suggests the wood came into prolonged contact with gold ore or possibly even artifacts. Gold doesn't just soak into timber naturally, explains metal detection expert Gary Drayton in the upcoming episode. You don't find it like that unless someone was storing or moving gold through this area, and it leaked into the material over time. Rick Legina, ever the cautious optimist, is heard in the preview saying, "We've been chasing the idea of treasure. Now we've got the science backing it up. This is significant. This is real." Expanding the Baby Blob. With this discovery, the team wastes no time expanding their efforts in and around the Baby Blob zone. Heavy equipment moves in, and a grid of new boreholes is plotted to chase the potential tunnel or structure that could be tied to the gold-laced wood. The drilling crew, led by Charles Barkhouse and Terry Matheson, starts to bring up more promising material, more timber, more voids, and even signs of stonework that look disturbingly intentional. there's talk among the team that this area might represent a secondary storage zone. Perhaps a decoy vault or emergency offload site used by whoever buried the original Oak Island treasure. If true, it would mean the treasure operation wasn't limited to just the money pit or the garden shaft. It was widespread, complex, and designed to outwit treasure hunters at every turn. A shift in focus and in theories. Marty Lagina is seen growing more animated in the preview, tossing out new possibilities with renewed energy. What if this is the perimeter defense? A kind of early warning system. They stash a bit of gold here, so if it's found, the rest of it gets moved or booby-trapped. For the more theory-heavy members of the team, like Doug Krell and Paul Troutman, the Baby Blob's golden secret might just rewrite parts of Oak Island's mysterious past. The presence of gold in the wood could point to more than just hidden treasure. It could indicate smelting, trading, or even religious rituals. Was this a temporary hiding place? A pit stop for pirates or Templar knights? Or the remains of a failed attempt to recover the treasure centuries ago? We could be looking at a timeline that stretches further back than we've been thinking, Doug suggests. Maybe this wood is tied to earlier expeditions, ones that tried to move the treasure and didn't make it. Gary's favorite signal yet? Metal detection expert Gary Drayton gets a standout moment in the preview as he swings his detector near the Baby Blob dig site and picks up what he calls the juiciest signal I've heard in years. As he begins digging, viewers can expect one of those cliffhanger scenes that Curse of Oak Island has become known for. Gary pulling out a heavily corroded object, brushing it off with shaking hands, and muttering something about it definitely not being modern. Whether it turns out to be gold or something else entirely remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, the Baby Blob has woken up the entire island. Dangers and dilemmas. As always, the deeper the team digs, the more complicated things become. Permits, safety concerns, and unpredictable weather threaten to slow down progress just as momentum builds. There's also the emotional toll. Years of digging, hoping, and disappointment weigh heavy on the entire fellowship. Every time we get this close, something seems to get in our way, Rick confesses in a quiet moment. But this time, I think we're finally on the edge of something breakthrough. Something undeniable. Could this be the season? For fans who have followed the Laginas and their team through thick and thin, through centuries-old nails, mysterious stone pathways, coconut fiber, and cursed artifacts, the gold in the Baby Blob's wood might be the most direct link to treasure they've ever found. It's a tangible clue, supported by science, hinting that Oak Island isn't just legend and lore. There's something real buried beneath that ground. And, for the first time in a long time, the treasure may not be just an idea, it might be just a few feet away. As the episode ends with Rick, Marty, Gary, and the crew standing around a widening pit in the Baby Blob zone, the narrator's voice teases, could this small, overlooked patch of land be the key to unlocking a centuries-old mystery? One thing is certain, Oak Island is not done giving up its secrets just yet. Don't miss the next episode of The Curse of Oak Island, where gold in the wood might finally lead to treasure in the ground.